So by now it's clear to you that, as far as I can tell, no one appears to be in charge at the Republican Party anymore. We heard from Congressman Culberson. We've heard contrasting views from the leadership of the Republican Party. Nobody being in charge is the thing you're going for in your neighborhood anarchist collective. But if you're a conservative major political party confronting a massive financial crisis, 2 wars, and a fast-approaching presidential election, that's not supposed to be what you're going for. Is it possible to be elected president if a candidate's party is fracturing beneath him? Does John McCain need to get congressional Republicans in line behind him on some policy, any policy, if he wants to win? Should Obama, for his part, stay above the fray or wade into the congressional negotiations? Joining us now is MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan. Pat, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Rachel.
I put in that anarchist collective reference just to bug you. But I have to ask you, do you think that the Republicans sort of fracturing into a lot of different factions who aren't really talking to each other on the economic issue, do you think that's trouble for McCain?
Yeah, I do think it's trouble for McCain, but we're not fracturing any more than normal. This is the same basic division deep inside the Republican Party that you saw over NAFTA and GATT and the Mexican bailout, and also over the immigration bill, where you have a very populist conservative party, which is very patriotic, nationalist, America first on one side, and an establishment party which is running the government and which tends to be Wall Street Journal oriented on the other side, Rachel. And this massive crisis has sharpened that division, and we saw it expressed on Capitol Hill. I think both sides of this argument are voting their principles and convictions, but there is a deep divide inside the Republican Party and something of a divide in the Democratic side.
Politically, though, I mean, Republicans in Congress are overtly, publicly ignoring both what President Bush is asking them to do and what John McCain is asking them to do. And McCain and Bush are asking for the same thing. I mean, would this situation be different if the Republicans had nominated somebody who had more friends in his own party, who was more persuasive as a Republican Party leader?
Oh, no, these are the congressman you talked to. I thought he's a very principled, constructive fellow. I agree with both his ideas. I agree with his entire criticism of this bill. I mean, I realize how important this legislation is, but I would have voted against this bill on grounds of my conservative principles and beliefs. The country's in a horrible way, but we don't want to make it worse and destroy the system. Did we take a hit for it? Yes, I think they're very courageous in doing what they did and voting against it.
But I think that when Culberson says what he sees about doing is changing what he sees that ought to be done is changing one accounting rule and upping the FDIC insurance limit, which everybody agrees we're going to do, that's essentially saying we have no plan, but we're going to make sure that we're against anything that does pass. I think it's just an attempt to create a political trap for the Democrats.
I don't agree at all. I think, look, why don't you do that and see if that works and sends the market up and keep looking at this. We've got to stay focused on it because I do agree there's a real danger here of a great crash, a freeze up, banks going down left, right, and center the way they did in 1929, 1930. But take these steps right away we can all agree on that might do something and be prepared to do something. I thought the congressman, I think a lot of the criticism I've heard from conservative Republicans, I thought it was conscientious and courageous. Does it disagree with John McCain? McCain has always been with the establishment on NAFTA, on GATT, on the WTO, the Mexican bailout, the immigration amnesty, you name it. That is the Bush 1, Bush 2 wing of the party on those issues, and we are on the other side, but we do sometimes belong to the same household.
And what you have just seen, America, is the conservative base of the Republican Party sprinting in the other direction from John McCain a month before the election. Pat Buchanan, MSNBC political analyst, thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate it, Pat.
Well, thank you, Rachel.